Varmt välkomna till Aktiespararna och Småbolagsdagarna i Stockholm. Jag heter Bengt Söderberg och är er moderator. Men nu välkomnar vi Justin Pierce, CEO för Magle Chemoswed. Very welcome, Mr. Justin Pierce.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Good. So this afternoon, I'd like to just provide a short presentation of Magle Chemoswed. I'll run a little bit through who we are, our business structure, a little bit about our revenues and how we generate our incomes, and then down into our technology, financial goals, and then touching on the proposed transaction that we have coming up. So to start with, Magle Chemoswed, we're an international contract development manufacturing organization for medical devices and pharmaceuticals. What that means is we provide services to customers in the development and manufacturing of both medical devices and pharmaceuticals. Combined, the company has over 70 years of experience in the field, and our mission is rather simple in terms of bringing ideas to products. We're based in Malmö, in Sweden. We have around 65 employees, and we have a turnover around 130 million annually. And one of our unique points is that we also have our own technology platform that we continue to develop products for. We have a long history going back to 1944 when Chemoswed was formed, and then into the 1990s where Magle Life Sciences was formed. And in 2006, Magle continued to develop as a research organization, a technology platform that we have in the business today. And in 2015, it entered into a large out-licensing royalty agreement with a large worldwide medical device manufacturer. With the funds raised from that, Magle used part of it to acquire Chemoswed in 2016. And then in 2017, we decided to merge Magle and Chemoswed together, giving birth to Magle Chemoswed, a more vertically integrated organization. So we're offering more services down the supply chain. In 2017, the shareholder and the board of directors approved an investment package, which we started in 2018, of around 90 million, where we upgraded, renovated, and built new facilities to support the organization going forward. So at the end of 2019, we had completed the 90 million kroner investment, and we now have that in terms of our capabilities, resources, and our facilities. Our business structure, we have two sides to the business, we like to say. We have one which is the traditional CDMO side, and then we have the other side, which is the technology side. On the CDMO side, we have the supply of contract services, development services, and then we also have the contract manufacturing services that we provide, both of which generate their own revenues and both of which generate their own profits. On the other side of the business, we have a technology side. And on the technology side, we generate revenues through our long-term out-licensing agreement. And then we're also generating new products based on our technology, which we take to market through strategic partners. So all four legs of the business are generating their own income and their own profitability. Our facilities are fully owned in southern Sweden, in Malmö. Like I said, we've invested 90 million since 2017 and up until the end of 2019. We have highly specialized instrumentation, highly specialized manufacturing facilities, including clean rooms. And all of our facilities have been inspected by the European authorities and the Swedish authorities from a quality and a GMP perspective. So we're completely and utterly licensed to do all the sorts of activities that we are currently doing in the business that are generating revenues and incomes. On the CDMO side of the business, everything that is highlighted in red is areas that we are currently active in the supply chain. So we are active in helping companies from a very early stage, discovery and preclinical stage, where we do development work for them. We help with formulation development, all the way through to clinical studies, where we are manufacturing materials for them to take into clinical studies, into human trials. And then on the commercial side, we have the full supply chain, from manufacturing to fill and finishing to supply chain services such as logistics, transport, international shipping, and all the other things. And the one point I should say is that we don't actually market in terms of sales and marketing directly to hospitals or physicians. So we use strategic partners to do that on our own products. So there are lots of synergies that we see from the CDMO side of the business into our own technology development. So essentially, as a business model, our costs are covered by the services that we provide to third-party customers, both on the contract manufacturing and the contract services. And what this allows is it allows us to use those same facilities and the same capabilities to develop our own products based on our technology. Currently, we estimate that there is a time saving of around 80% of time to market in developing our own products using our internal capabilities. And we see about a 70% cost structure advantage to us. So developing our own product, we can do it faster than we would if we were just a development company, and we do it in a far more cost-effective way than if we were to outsource those development works and those manufacturing works. It also streamlines our regulatory approvals and our time to partner due to the fact that we're using the same facilities, we're using the same equipment based on the same technology as we go forward, generating our own products. Our technology platform, which is what we're currently developing and taking advantage of on the CDMO side, is well developed and proven. We have a history of successful product realization. We have a number of products out on the market based on our technology. We have proven revenues, both from sales and royalties, which are long-term royalty agreements that we have in place. We have proven regulatory strategies, so we don't have the same hurdles as different companies have in coming to market from a regulatory perspective. And the technology is incredibly versatile, and we can combine it with different drugs and different biologics, or just use it on its own as a technology platform. We also have a very large patent portfolio around it. We tend to patent around products that we develop rather than patenting just the technology platform. So what this allows is it allows us to grow our patents portfolio based on our product, whilst leaving the technology platform free to be further developed. Royalties are one of our large revenue streams, which come through our successes based on our development of product. Our largest royalty agreement is a long-term agreement that runs until 2030. We have no conversion rate on that, so it's income in. We have about a 1% conversion cost, which is related to currency conversions, because the royalty is paid to us in USD. Royalties are paid quarterly, and you can see that they've been steadily climbing as a product has been secured in the market. So from 16 million in 2017 up to 29 million last year. So on our technology pipeline, we have a strong pipeline of our own products that we're currently generating based on our technology. We've invested over 60 million since 2017 just in getting this pipeline up to scratch. We have 2 products that we have filed for approval and were audited in April this year. And we are looking to have those products approved in 2020, 2021. Then we have a number of other products in the pipeline, from the EMBL all the way down to the delivery that we see coming forward in the near future. So in the near future being the next 2 to 4 years. So the advantage of our own technology products coming to the market is we have a very low cost development, a very low cost manufacturing, and a very high cost, high profit margin based on all of those products, which gives us good organic growth and really high profitability returns. The financial goals of the company is to achieve an average growth rate of 10% in terms of revenues. We estimate or expect that growth to be predominantly organic, but we also see some growth coming from smaller acquisitions in the future. Our target is to achieve an EBITDA margin exceeding 20% in the medium-term period. And then on our technology products, our goal is to have at least 5 products on the market and generating revenues by the end of 2022. Financially, the company has a split, as you would expect, between manufacturing, services, and royalties. Looking at the screen from left to right, we had a very high reliance on manufacturing in 2017 and 2018. Our target is to have about 50% of the business in manufacturing of products, about 20 to 22% in services, and the remainder in royalties. So over the last 3 years, we've worked very hard to diversify our revenue portfolio and to make sure that the revenues that we have coming in on our portfolio are not over-reliant on 1 or 2 customers. So we have a good customer base in the manufacturing, we have a good customer split in the manufacturing, and we have a good customer base and split in the services now as well. So we're not overly reliant on any one particular customer. In terms of other financial sort of operating highlights, January to March 2020 compared to 2019, we had an EBITDA margin of 7%, which was slightly down on the same period last year. And this was predominantly an effect of COVID-19. And we bought in a lot of raw materials for our manufacturing in order to ensure that we could continue operating under the current strange climate as a result of COVID. Other than that, the net debt is around 21 million in the company. This was reduced from the same period last year from 67 million. And this has largely been a conversion by the current shareholder of loans to his company into equity, which was done in 2019. So this gives us a lower net debt value in the company. Financial breakdown, like I said, we have 4 arms to the business: contract development, royalty, and then our own development. Contract manufacturing generates revenues and profits, as does contract development and as does the royalty. And clearly the pipeline is a straight up cost to us, and the pipeline is in estimation of the costs that we actually dedicate to developing our own products. In terms of the management, you have myself as the CEO of the company. I've been with the company since 2015 as the CEO. Prior to that, I worked as a lawyer in the company from 2012. So I was the legal advisor and took the role as CEO in October 2015. We have Jessica Larson, who's currently our interim CFO. Jessica has experience from DuPont, and previous to that was an accountant at Deloitte. Then we have Peter Shuisky. Peter is in charge of our development of our technology and the technology products, and has a long background in history in organic chemistry, product development, and has worked at a number of major organizations. Frederick Andersson, who's our Chief Operating Officer, who's also a chemist by background and stepped into the role just over a year ago. He's been in the company for around 20 years and has a significant amount of development as well as operational experience. Board of directors, from left to right, we have Hans-Henrik Lidgard, who is our founder and chairman and current shareholder of the business, through to Sven-Christer Nielsen as a board member. Sven-Christer has been on Sprint and Assa Abloy as well as Sony Ericsson. Then we have Mats Pettersson, who's been at Moberg Pharma as chairman of the board, Biovitrum, and various other companies. We have Hedda Lidgard, who brings a large commercial background from Accenture, Bombardier, and other large companies, and is advising the company in terms of strategy. And then we have Marlon Mansur. Marlon is a medical doctor and professor at Lund University, has a long experience in terms of product development and innovation, and brings a medical eye to our board. Then we have Julia Camber, who is also a medical doctor and is previously from Roche Pharmaceuticals on the marketing and development side. So we have a fairly well-balanced and strong board of directors currently. In terms of the proposed transaction, we propose to be listed on Nasdaq First North Growth Market with a valuation of 200 million krona. It's a sale of existing shares, 25% of the shareholding of Hans Henrik, equaling 50 million krona in capital. And the company at this time is not seeking to raise any capital through a share issue. Our expected timetable is to have the first day of trading on June the 30th this year, with a subscription period which opened on the 5th of June and closes around the 17th of June or 16th of June this year. Bengt, I think that's all from me. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, yes. Thank you for a very interesting presentation.
Sure.
And we go over to some questions here. Could you please briefly describe your patent portfolio? Who are your main patents, and how long will they last, and so on?
Absolutely. So we have two major patents, one of which runs until the end of 2030, and we have that filed in around 35 different countries, including all the main jurisdictions in Europe, Middle East, Asia Pacific, and including the US. Then we have new patents which are currently being filed for a product that we have for pancreatic surgical treatments. Those have been granted in Europe, and we're currently filing in the US. So those have got about 20 years to run on them.
Okay. And those microspheres that you are manufacturing, are those patented as well, or?
No, so the patent strategy is when we use the microspheres into a product, we patent around the product. So this leaves the actual microsphere technology under trade secret, and it allows us free to innovate more based on our technology rather than trapping it into one patent.
Okay. And can you please elaborate a bit about your current customer base? Who are your main customers?
So we have customers from large pharma all the way down to small biotech. So large pharma, we have commercial supply agreements with customers from Bristol Myers Squibb, GlaxoSmithKline, all the way down to Sanofi, and then down to smaller local-based companies. And on the development side, we have large agreements with larger companies in the US and Europe, all the way down to some smaller companies based in Medicon Village in London. So we run the full range of customers.
Okay. And how would you describe your market as a whole? Is it growing, and is it slowly growing, or can you please tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, there is a trend in outsourcing in the CDMO market. So we're seeing a lot of inquiries at the moment. We expect this to continue as large development companies look to companies such as ourselves who can provide a sort of one-stop shop service. So we see a good growth there. We expect a growth of around 6 to 12% annually. On the service side, and certainly on the manufacturing side, we're seeing a big uptake now in outsourcing and manufacturing. So we're actually very close to capacity when it comes to manufacturing.
Okay. And who are your main competitors, and what are their size compared to you?
Sure. So our market is very fragmented. You have some very big players. I guess the most well-known in the Nordics would be someone like Recipharm. I think they're a lot larger than us. We don't consider them to be a direct competitor. So we have smaller companies such as PK Chemicals in Denmark, and companies more of that size, some of the Eurofins CDMOs. But what we offer is a very niche service to a smaller customer on the development work side who gets better one-on-one quality from us. So we're not competing with the same customer base that somebody like Recipharm is competing with. But outside of that, the market is incredibly fragmented. So it's a good competitive landscape for us.
And when you say you're a niche player, so to speak, what kind of what characterizes your niche, so to speak?
Sure. So I think two things. One is on the manufacturing side, our scale of manufacturing can be very large scale, but we also have dedicated manufacturing suites for smaller scale. So in the orphan drug space, we have currently got 2 orphan drug projects which are moving into commercial product. So this allows us to provide the customer a better cost structure and a better service point for the more orphan drug market. And on the drug product side, we are looking at smaller batch sizes of niche drugs or the type of drugs that require smaller amounts or smaller volumes to be manufactured and supplied.
Okay. And can you please describe a bit more your business model? You said some of your revenue comes now from royalties,
yeah,
and some come from this contract manufacturing fees, or so to speak. Will there be more royalty streams coming in from projects in your pipeline now, for example?
I don't know that there'll be more royalty streams. There'll definitely be more revenue streams. So we have 2 options with our development projects, our own technology products. One is to out-license and the other is to manufacture and to supply to strategic distributors. So in late 2019, we took the decision to manufacture one of our own products in-house and have it distributed by a partner. And that's what we've done with that product. So this will add about 6 million in revenues for 2020 from that product. And we have a very high margin on it. So there is a possibility of new revenue streams, but there is based on royalty and also based on us manufacturing and supplying our own products.
Okay. And how will you spend the money raised now from the listing on the stock exchange?
I think that's a question for the shareholder. The company's not raising any capital. We're a financially solid company, so this is just an sale of existing shares, and those existing shares would go to the shareholder.
Okay, yes, that's true. So could you please explain a bit about the share ownership structure post this listing?
So Hans-Henrik Lydgaard, through his holding company, would maintain 75% of the shareholding. And we have some foundation investors who've taken a large part of that. So there'll be 25% divested. And then the management are also part of an options program, warrant program.
Okay. And what's the management's share? Do you have that number of the total shares?
I think it is just below 4%, okay, combined.
And do you have any planned, what's your dividend? Do you have any stated dividend policy?
There is a stated dividend policy in the prospectus. It's 30 to 50% of annual profits, net tax.
Okay. And you will, you plan to immediately start to give dividends, or how is your financial situation?
Dividends for 2020 with the listing and everything else we have, we don't foresee. But moving forward, I would certainly be positive towards that. Okay.
And your business model offers to taking a drug through all the 3 phases, or?
Sure.
It's from scratch to the end, so to speak. Okay, that's interesting.
Yes.
And how easy is it to, if you would get a big order from some company, how quickly can you answer ramp up production, so to speak, or do you have bottlenecks there, or can you explain a bit on that?
Absolutely. I mean, we have dedicated account specialists who work with our customers to manage their forecasting and their ordering. We work very much on sort of continuous manufacturing. So our ability to ramp up is immediate. We're a small company, so we have that flexibility and agility. And we focus very much on customer service. So we spend a lot of time understanding customer needs and trying to foresee when there will be a big uptake in a particular product.
Okay. And are all your active production and manufacturing activities taking place in Malmö, or do you have more?
No, everything is based in Sweden, in Malmö. We own the facilities entirely outright, so everything is done in-house by our own staff. All manufacturing is done here.
And since you're not issuing new shares, how would you describe the main purpose of this listing?
Sure. I think part of this is Hans Henrik's vision to allow people to share in what he's built over the years. Part of this is also allowing us as a company to have the financial stability going forward, and also in order to attract larger customers, especially in the United States and in Europe. So being a listed company adds to our reputational value and stability from a customer perspective.
Okay. Unfortunately, we have run out of time now, but
Sure.
thank you very much for a very interesting presentation.